financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is a little bit different. It's the classic partnership war, quote unquote, the evil nephew. And this is a business case. The names and certain facts have been changed to maintain the confidence of the parties.
So we should be hiding behind our sunglasses.
I don't want to say, we need to do some pictures on the show. In fact, I meant to mention to that, Dave, like if we could take some pictures during the show, like Facebook likes that, and as I'm told, we could put background pictures, like pictures of you guys on the camera and so forth. I think we need to do some of that. We'll do that on the next segment of the show. We'll do some pictures. But I would like a picture for Brian in the sunglasses.
Absolutely.
So, but I said the names have been changed and the facts altered to protect the confidence. I don't want to say to protect the innocent, because in this particular case, there was an innocent party. Of course, that was my client.
Of course.
And there was an evil client that was our adversary. Now, it's not always that way. I don't want to suggest that every time I'm representing somebody, it's the good person and the other side is the bad person. As lawyers, we represent our client.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes. But in this particular case, as you'll see as things develop, I think that it's a fair statement. So here's what the case is about. First of all, macro topics. It's about greed, family, selective memory, and playing hardball.
There should be a quote right now.
Greed is good.
Greed is good from Gordon Gekko.
There you go. I'll put that picture up on the slide will be there on the show.
Another 80s movie, Jenny, that you don't know about.
25 years ago, we're going to go back in time. Fred and Jenny, they own a successful business in Metro Detroit. Nephew Billy just graduated college, wants to get into the restaurant franchise business. Nephew Billy has no money. Billy goes to Uncle Fred and says, "Will you help me?" They make a classic deal. In business, we call it sweat for equity. And Fred says, "I'll put up the money. I'll put up the available credit. I'll get us the loans and the money that we need to open the restaurants. Billy, you'll be the general manager. You do all the work. We're 50-50 partners. We split profit 50-50.
Now, I'm assuming that nephew Billy brought a business plan and that this looked like to be a good deal and that this was a well-known franchise, and they did their due diligence before.
Well, yeah, and it was 25 years ago, so it was a franchise, and it was well-known. It's much more well-known now because this was in the early days, but for sure, Fred was a good businessman. Fred wouldn't have gone into the business and taken the risk of putting the money in to buy the franchise, build the restaurant, and everything else if he didn't think it made sense. But he was also gambling, like all investments are, on the fact that Billy would do a good job running the business and that the business would be viable, that the franchisor would do a good job. So they went ahead and they struck that deal. Over the next 15 years, they opened 3 locations. The business was doing well. Fred and Billy were each taking out $250,000 of profit per year.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
Good deal for Billy.
Yeah.
Good deal for Fred.
So
especially since Fred put up all the money.
now, is Billy actually working in the business?
Billy's running the show. He's acting as the general manager. He's not there day to day. He's going to all 3 stores, making sure he's hiring all the people, making sure everything's done. Fred's wife, Jenny, pays the bills, writes out the checks. That's her job.
Is she the like office manager?
She's just
or-
working from home paying the bills. Billy's the general manager, hires and fires the employees, buys the merchandise, makes all the major decisions. Fred dies. Jenny inherits Fred's interest. So now
did
Jenny's...
Fred have an estate plan? Oh wait, that's a different show. We'll come back to that.
That's part of the... And there are issues there, but Jenny is now 50% owner with Billy. Nothing changes for 10 more years. Billy runs the business. Jenny keeps paying the bills from her home. They're now making $375,000 each a year. Business is doing fine. So far, no problem.
Sounds great.
Now the fight. 25 years after they started the business, 10 years after Fred dies, Billy decides to change the rules.
Dun, dun, dun.
Billy goes to Jenny and says, I want you to sell me your 1/2, I want you to sell me your 1/2 interest. Jenny says to Billy, I don't want to sell.
Did Billy have a cold at the time he went?
Apparently. Billy says, it's not fair. I've done all the work and you're getting the same money that I'm getting. Jenny says, it is fair. This was the deal we made. It's been very good for you. And if you want, you're my nephew. You want to take a modest salary? Take a salary and we'll split after that. Billy says, I want $300,000 a year.
In
That's
addition
not-
to the profits?
And then 50% of the profits, which would be 300 off the top, and then so that would be 150 out of Jenny's pocket. Jenny comes to me when this process occurs and says, what should I do? Should we have the business appraised and sell it to him? And I look at it, and not only me, but Jenny goes to her accountant, and each of us say the same thing. You have basically an ATM machine spewing out $375,000 a year. Why would you want to sell? So she didn't. So she goes to Billy and she says, I don't want to sell. Let's just keep going the way we are. Billy doesn't like that outcome. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Billy and what happens and how it should have resulted.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. All right, so the stage is set. Billy's psyche. Let me give you. And let me give you where everybody's coming from. Billy's sitting there saying, "I entered into this deal with Uncle Fred. I loved my Uncle Fred. It worked good. We got along, but it's been 25 years, and
Fred's dead.
I'm doing all the work. I've built the business up and made sure that it's one of the best franchisees in the entire system. I'm recognized as having the best stores. And Aunt Jenny, who has plenty of money, is getting $375,000 a year, and I'm getting my $375,000. But if Aunt Jenny wasn't there, if I could buy her out, I'd be making more money. I have to provide for my family."
Well,
so Billy, in Billy's mind, is not being unfair.
So for 25 years, has Billy been working in this restaurant business and not taking a paycheck? So he's been sharing in the profit.
He's been taking a modest paycheck of $20,000 a year.
Okay.
He's been getting, his deal was 50% of the profits.
But he's
That's the
doing
deal.
more. If he had to hire someone to do his job, what would
He's acting as a general manager. He's not in the stores day to day. He's driving to the stores. He's on the phone. He's making sure they run. He's acting as the overseer of the business. He's doing what they agreed to.
It's a classic example.
But you're asking the right question.
But that was what they agreed to. If that was what they agreed to, you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to get 50% of the profit. Why is Billy entitled to a paycheck?
Well, Billy's mind is that, that was a deal back then, and it seemed good, but now I have taken it to an entirely different stratosphere than this deal ever contemplated to begin with. We never anticipated such growth, and now there's such growth, and it's because of what I've done.
And I'm Fred coming back from the grave.
Right.
And I'm saying to you, this is exactly what I anticipated. Otherwise, why would I have put my house and my money at risk to build each of the restaurants? You didn't. You think I did this because I just wanted to do it for no reason? I was hoping that it would create an income and retirement for my life, and as I passed away, for Jenny's life.
Which it has.
So the question is there, what it comes down to is a deal when you make a deal, or is a deal as long as it's good for you? And then once you think that it's no longer a good deal for you, are you free to change the deal?
Well, clearly Billy thought he was free to change the deal. But was there like an operating agreement that talked about all of this? Maybe a buy-sell agreement?
I thought we were going to go the whole show before one of you asked the question that I was waiting to hear. No, there's no shareholder agreement. Big mistake, okay?
I mean, what, they were just working on a handshake?
They're family, Brian.
They're family. And they had 25 years of history.
You know what they say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer?
Yes, Jack Ewing from Dallas used to say that. I had a little thing from Champ's coaster that said that as well.
Okay, JR.
Now, you're asking the right question, though. Sweat for equity deals are commonplace, and they often cause problems down the road because the person who ends up putting in the sweat forgets the value of the equity that he got and the risk that the other person who backed the financial enterprise took. And the way to resolve that is you have a shareholder agreement, or you have an operating agreement if it was an LLC. These are corps because 25 years ago we didn't do LLCs. If you had an agreement that covered all these points, saying Billy gets his his equity, but all he's getting is the profits. He's not going to get a salary. This is the deal he's made. Then there's not going to be something that Billy can come and say, I'm changing the rules from. But in this case, they don't have that agreement. So it's factual. It's honesty. The facts are as I told you they are. But proving those facts becomes a different issue in court because there's no written document to rely on.
No.
So what happens? Billy files suit seeking to dissolve the company under Michigan law. There's a law that says if a company is deadlocked to the point where it can no longer function in the interest of its creditors or conduct business, the court has the power to dissolve the company. He is taking the position that the company should be dissolved, that they're deadlocked because Jenny won't sell to him.
Wouldn't neither of them in that case get what they wanted then?
That's a risk, because when you put in the decision to dissolve the company to a court, the court could say, we're going to sell the assets to the highest bidder, but the highest bidder could be Jenny and it could be Billy. Or the court could say, we're going to sell it to the highest bidder and you guys can't bid, because the statute doesn't address those issues. It all vests in the court. And that's exactly, good question, Jenny, it's exactly what happened in this case. He filed suit for dissolution. We took the position, this is ridiculous. The business continues to function perfectly. The profits are the same. Every customer is served their food. The restaurant is operating normally. The only dispute is that he wants to buy her out. There's no grounds for dissolution. Well, the judge says, I think that's my decision, isn't it? It's not yours. And I said, well, you have to follow the law, Judge. Well, what judges do is judges don't necessarily make decisions quickly. The process unfolds. And the court system is expensive for Billy and for Jenny. And most cases settle. They don't go to trial. Going to trial takes close to a year. Costs a lot of money. The incentives are to settle and resolve the case. So the question is, how does that unfold? What happens? What's the right way to deal with the issue? What should Jenny do? What do you think Jenny should do? Should she just sell and give in? What price should she sell at? Any ideas?
You know, I don't know. But I assume you're going to tell us when we come back after the break.
You got it.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. So I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m. and on KISS 105.9 Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $100 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. We have a seminar coming up Wednesday, September 11th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. The debt must fall. September is the time, so it's time for debt to fall. Talk about all the methods and processes we use to eliminate debt. Solutions outside of bankruptcy, solutions using bankruptcy. The key Get rid of the debt so you start taking that available disposable income and you have some available for saving for the future. We have a special segment. Scott Weinberg's going to present on how to address traffic issues and also what do you do if you get stopped. Critically important information. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com or lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. Want to remind everybody you can always come into THAV Gross or Law and Reality for a free consultation. Just call 888-235-HELP or go on the website lawandreality.com, thavgross.com, and you can sign up, check the box that you want a consultation for. We'll call you back and schedule it. You got debt issues and estate planning issues with Brian, tax and business issues with myself and Jeff Kirshner, elder law issues with Pat Samasco, criminal law issues with Scott Weinberg, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Just go to the site, request the consult, or call the office. We're always happy to have you in. And when we do consults, they're not like meet and greets. We sit, we analyze the problem, we figure out the solution, we tell you what steps you need to take so that you have the plan to go forward and make the right decisions. Check out the websites as well. We have 4 free reports. Brand new one, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solution, written by yours truly, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Samasco Law, Michigan Criminal Lawyers PLC, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
So I asked that question as we came to the break. What should Jenny do? The lawsuit's now out there. Any ideas?
Well, before you get to the lawsuit being out there, the question is what should have been done before Fred died to make, because does Jenny...
We said that, the shareholder
right,
agreement.
I understand, but the importance of that is, and I want to repeat it, is that you go into business with your partner. You don't go into business with your partner's spouse.
Well, you do when she likely had to sign personal guarantees at the beginning when they were outlaying money.
That's an issue in play in every business as well. In that shareholder agreement, you could have addressed that issue by saying when one partner dies, there's a buy-sell provision triggers and the surviving partner has the option to buy the other one out. That would be probably the more common situation in a non-family related business. In this particular business, with Fred and Jenny being Uncle Fred and Aunt Jenny, it also probably would have been the case where Uncle Fred would have said, no, when I die, Jenny's going to get my interest. That's an issue that would have been addressed in that agreement if one was done, but one was not done.
Well, and in this case, Jenny was actually also working in the business. So she was doing not the same what Billy was, but she was involved.
She's just paying bills, though.
But still involved.
But that's the only thing that
she wasn't slinging hash.
But that's the only thing that changed in this, though, because the
Billy.
money's still getting paid to the family. She's still doing the books. Just because her husband passes away, everything else is staying the same.
Yeah, I'm just saying, doing the book, paying bills is just a routine mechanical function. It's not making management decisions and everything else. Here, to me, the real issue is he's running the business. It's generating $375,000 of cash flow for each of them. The 10 years after Fred died, he never came back and wanted to change the rules. There's a pattern, a course of business and a course of dealing established over these 25 years that makes it clear that the deal was what they said at the beginning. But Billy's not going to allow it. He files the suit. Now you've got dissolution going. You've got the judge saying, you may not like how I decide the case.
Well,
we filed a motion to dismiss the case, but the judge is not quick to hear the motion because the judge wants the parties to resolve the case. Judges don't like to try cases.
And
we had the property appraised. The appraisal comes back and says Jenny's value and each value is $1.1 million. So Billy says, I'll give you your $1.1 million. Jenny says, I'll give you the $1.1 million. They don't agree on that. Ultimately, Jenny sold on a settlement to Billy for $1.4 million. Billy paid a $300,000 premium.
So that's 4 years of futures for her.
More money than he wanted to, more money than he probably should have, because he wants to get rid of Jenny. Jenny accepted that money, which is less than what she wanted, because what she wanted was the continuation of the $375. But the problem was the legal fees are building up on both sides. You have, if you don't agree, the judge is going to decide the case. That's an unknown. It's a difficult scenario.
No,
strange and bad things do happen at trial that you don't predict. You don't know how they're going to interpret it. And with regard to Billy, actually, I would argue that's actually a pretty good deal. He paid 4 years of futures right now in the business. As long as he's relatively healthy and young, he can make that up, recoup that in 4 years, and he's got the
as
business
long as
pretty
the
clear.
business stays solid, yeah. It was probably a good outcome for Billy. It was a good outcome for Jenny as well because she's getting more than her half value, but she didn't want to sell the business. Was it fair? No. I gave you the facts, and I didn't say to you, these are the facts as I saw them. I gave you like a law school hypothetical. I gave you the facts as they really are. When you litigate a case, the other side changes the facts so that there's risk in the litigation and you have the problem of how do we resolve the case. So in this situation, by Billy taking an unreasonable position, he ultimately got what he wanted, but he had to pay a high premium for it. It's a nasty situation. It goes back to greed.
I'll tell you something else. Billy's out of the will. I promise you.
Billy doesn't need the will, though.
Well, that's one of those real shames. This was a close family, and now they don't talk, and they never will. You'll never repair the damage that was done by this, and it was all about money. And sometimes money trumps everything perfectly in this world, but it's not a good thing. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.